Hi, welcome back to another episode of Professor in Progress. My name's Dane. For the next few, we're going to be taking a step back from my project and talking about the lead up to getting enrolled in a PhD. So this week we're talking about undergrad. I want to talk a bit about why I went to university in the first place and how that relates to why I'm at university now. Because, things have changed along the way. The initial undergraduate degree I did was a Bachelor of Applied Science, majoring in psychology at Deakin University, Geelong. I also completed a second major in anthropology. Now, looking back, the reason I chose the degree that I did had very little to do with concrete career plans. There were a couple of reasons why I chose to enroll in that degree. One of the reasons I did a psych degree was actually a really bad reason to go to university, which is just that that's what I felt like you're supposed to do when you finish high school. Why psychology specifically? I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do. I just kind of picked psych because it was one of my favorite subjects. My other reason though, which I kind of only reflected on properly later on, after I'd already kind of locked in the psych thing, was a lot more substantial and personally meaningful. I don't want to get too into the details, but mental health issues have affected people close to me at various points in my life. Studying psychology gave me the opportunity to better understand what was going on around me, how to better deal with it, how to better help people. In terms of achieving these goals, my psychology degree did everything I wanted it to, as much as one could hope for anyway. In terms of career paths though, it wasn't really feeling like my thing. And that's where anthropology really came into my life. Totally random elective, didn't really even know what it was besides the study of humans, which is ridiculously vague. At first I thought it was complete hogwash. My lecturer was talking about the social constructiveness of all these things that I took to be completely objective, and she was talking about witchcraft beliefs as a legitimate way of engaging with the world, as if these people weren't just batshit crazy or really stupid. I was a hard science kind of guy all through high school, and I never really intended to enroll in a class like this. I just didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I was there though, so I stuck with it. I listened, I read occasionally, and it started to make sense and dawn on me just how much of a douchebag I had been in the past. Arrogant, pretentious, judgmental, casually racist from time to time. At my core, I'm still the same person, but since I started university, I've completely transformed the way that I frame other people in relation to myself. And I have anthropology to thank for that, I think. Anywho, I can pinpoint the exact day that I was completely sold on pursuing anthropology beyond this one subject. And it's all thanks to my lecturer in that subject, who ended up being my honours supervisor, so I'll probably talk about her again. It was one of the best teachers I'd ever had. I just felt like she really cared about teaching us, which, should be pretty common, but it's just not a connection I felt with every lecturer. So the day in question, it was like halfway through the semester, I think, and usually we had a different person running our tutorials and Tanya gave the lectures. Our usual tutor was away for some reason and Tanya took our tutorials. So this was the first time that I actually got one-on-one time with Tanya. We were talking about Evans Pritchard's classic work on the Azandi, and we were talking about the concept of secondary elaboration that comes up in that book. It's the idea that if you... this is a hopeless explanation. The whole point of this anecdote is that I explained secondary elaboration really well in the class, and I'm just completely botching it right now. So that came up in class, and we were talking about it, and I just really got it at the time, clearly not right now. And yeah, Tanya was like, wow, that was a really good explanation.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Jan. But I'll try anyway.
And yeah, we had a moment where it was like, yeah, she recognized me as a person who contributed meaningfully to the class. But the real kicker came later in the day when we went to the lecture. So Tanya was explaining the concept in the lecture, and she was like, oh, actually, this was explained really well in one of the toots by, Dane, was it? And she pointed me out, and she remembered my name. And here was me in the middle of the lecture theatre being like,
Me? You mean, that's my name, that's my name, yeah. She's talking about me.
And I just felt really cool. I don't know, that's really lame, I'm such a nerd, but I was like, yeah, the lecturer knows who I am. And I mean, there's more to it than that. I worked hard and I got good grades and I had more interactions with all the staff. That was like the catalyzing moment that really set everything into motion, I feel. So for a while, anthropology just became like my second major. It was just another like interesting thing. But then it was kind of suggested that I should maybe consider doing honors in anthropology because I was getting really good marks. Better than I was getting in psychology, and that seemed to make sense to me. And somewhere along the line, I just kind of decided, I guess probably around second year, that I wanted to do a PhD in anthropology and that was going to be my career plan from that point on. Now, I feel like I was a bit naive about career prospects. Like, at this point, now that I'm doing the PhD, I am a little more anxious about, how hard it will be to find a secure, full-time, lecturing job where I can still do research at a university in Melbourne, which, is my dream place to be eventually. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I mean, having a PhD is pretty cool. I'm confident I'll be able to do something. So I guess that's really the main points I wanted to convey about my undergrad experience, is that it wasn't really so important for me in terms of career plans. That's kind of, I'm on a path now towards a career as a result of it, and I'm happy with where that's at. But I feel like the biggest benefit I got from doing my undergraduate degree was just the personal transformation I went through. I feel like I am a far more morally upright person and far more informed about the world. I'm very, very eternally grateful, Tanya, if you're watching this, for the role that you played in triggering that change in myself. So next time, I'm going to talk about my honours degree. In the meantime, please click subscribe, share the video with anyone you might think might be interested, and I'll see you next time.